Hello Third Coast fam. Today we are going to turn this empty terrarium into a habitat for a three-toed box turtle that is big. He's just a little guy, so stay tuned. We're going to get some stuff and get started. Okay, boys and girls, remember, even though reptiles live in the wild, it is still important to clean your tank or enclosure before use. You never know what chemicals were used in the tank if you're using a used tank or even a new tank from the factory. Here, I'm using a damp cloth with ZooMed Wipeout solution. Some household cleaning chemicals can be harmful to your reptile, so make sure you are using a cleaning agent that is approved for your reptile environment. Okay, so now that I have the inside of the tank wiped out, I have some materials here. We have some dirt and we have a pond liner. The important thing when you're using dirt is to choose dirt that does not have like the Miracle-Gro chemicals in it or those little styrofoam balls. They can actually try to eat those, cause impaction, and bad things will happen. So what we're going to do is start with the dirt to create a form for the pond. Okay, so we're putting the dirt in this aquarium here. And this stuff is heavy because it's damp. It has a lot of water content in the dirt itself. Okay, and you're going to get dirty, so you might want to wear gloves. I don't care. I'm going to get dirty. It's part of the business. So, aside. Now you can see this stuff. It'll form. And that's why we want to use this for our pond liner. So we're going to go ahead, smooth this out, and then we'll start to press in the form of the actual water feature, which in this case is going to be kind of like a lazy river in the bottom of this, and then we'll go ahead and put the pond liner in, and then we'll put our actual substrate in that the turtle's going to be in. So let's go ahead and get this stuff spread out throughout the tank here evenly. So, stuff is heavy. Okay. So, at this point, I think we have an even bed across the bottom of this aquarium. So, as you can see, you're going to get dirty. So let's go ahead now and let's start creating the form. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually start pushing the dirt down and creating like a trench. And that trench is going to go kind of like that. And what I'm doing is actually I'm just taking like my fist and pushing this dirt like so. And what that does is it creates this nice crevice. That's going to create our form. Now remember, if you hit the glass, it's okay because it's going to be covered up with the liner. So we're going to go ahead and form our water feature like this. It's going to take a little bit, so we might fast forward you. We might fast forward you through this part, and then I can kind of show you like an overhead view. There. Now let's go ahead and show you guys what we have going on here. So, as you can see, I've made this kind of push down and it creates these sidewalls here. And the liner is going to kind of go over this. And then on top of it, it's going to be the substrate on the sides, leaving this liner for the water to be in. And then what we'll do is we'll have a pump at one end, and then I'll have a suction at the other end, creating kind of like a lazy river. It'll kind of circulate water from one end to the other, keep the water moving, and that'll prevent a lot of bacterial growth, and it'll keep the water clean a lot longer. So let's go ahead and get the time lapse started, and I'll see you when it's done. At this point, I feel pretty good about the form I've created for the pond liner. As you can see, there are some areas where I've removed the dirt all the way down to the glass floor, and that's okay. The pond liner will cover these areas. Now, on the far end, over here, right, come on, there we go, right here, is where I'm going to install the pond pump / filter. There are a few options for a smaller application such as this, so I will have to do some research to make sure I get the correct one. My goal here is to create moving water that will not only mimic the natural environment, it will help reduce the amount of sediment and waste in the water. Keep in mind, you'll have to keep the filter element clean and replace them often. Okay, so as you can see, we put the pond liner in. I've obviously got some more trimming to do. You can kind of see where this is starting to take shape for the actual river portion and the lake portion down there at the end. So the next thing I'm going to do is kind of on this side here, actually take your liner and tuck it back behind the dirt. And what that'll do is actually create a good hold for it for when you put the next layer down. The next step, like I said, was to cut this, and that's what we're going to do next. So when I get back to you, everything will be cut and trimmed and put in place, and we'll be ready for the next layer of dirt. Okay, just a little progress update. I decided to go a different route with how I was going to do this. Originally, I was going to go ahead and just leave this plastic out and then put dirt on top. But I realized by doing that, it would create a really tall, like steep slope going down to the water, and that would be dangerous for the turtle. So instead, what I did was I went ahead and took out the dirt behind the wall here and then put the liner down and then put the dirt on top. And how I did that was over here on this side, for instance. See, if I pull this liner out of the way, you can see there's dirt behind there. So what I do to mark it, I'll go ahead, make sure I get my plastic where it needs to be, and then I'll go ahead and just push down and make an indent where I want to go ahead and remove dirt. Okay? And what that does is it keeps the wall secure here. It's all the way flush on the bottom. And then it'll tell me how much dirt to remove on the back side. So we remove the liner out of the way. And then we're left with this nice imprint here. And we know to remove the dirt from here back. And that leaves this form for the plastic. So then when we do that, we'll put the plastic underneath the dirt. And then we'll go ahead and fill the dirt back on top. So let's go ahead and remove the dirt. I'm trying to do this one-handed. It's a little difficult, bear with me. So I got my official scooper. And we will scoop this dirt out of here and kind of put it aside. And get all this stuff out of the way. And then get all this stuff out of the way here. Kind of clean this stuff up and then get the crevices here. In there like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to get every crumb of dirt out of the way. The point is to get weight on top of the tarp or the pond liner. Get this without disturbing the wall. So we get this out of the way. Like so. Okay, so now we're ready to put the liner down. So then we'll go ahead and put the liner in, and we'll tuck it behind here, but make sure you're leaving room for this floor to go down. So, and this back here doesn't have to be watertight. This doesn't matter. Your watertight area is going to be from here down. Behind it is going to be just dirt, and it's going to be okay. It'll be okay. It's not going to be affected. So, kind of tucking this stuff out of the way, this stuff down, and then now we're ready to put the dirt right on top of this, and then we'll trim the excess to make it look a little better here, kind of like I did on this side over here. So that way it will create the form. You won't have the steep walls, and it'll be safer for the turtle, and it'll be lighter to transport the enclosure when we're done. So this is basically our mold that we have for our little river that's going to come along here, and then it's going to end in this little pool right here. Now, as you can see, I've got dirt around the outsides of it and all along the perimeter, and that will allow for that liner to stay in place and add structural support for when the water is in there, because I have dirt underneath it as well to kind of help the form. And don't worry about all these little wrinkles and folds and such. When we get water in there, it's actually going to press it down and put pressure on it and form against the dirt underneath the liner. And then also we're going to add some river rock along the bottom as well to kind of help give it kind of a water movement and keep the water flowing. And with the rocks, it creates turbulence for the water, keeps it moving, keeps the bacteria from growing. And that's important for the longevity of the tank, where you're not constantly having to remove the water out of this and replace it with new water. So let's go ahead and get the substrate in, get our, it's a good time to put if you have plants to put in various places, sticks, if we're going to have some sort of structures. I'm going to put my hide on that side over there. And then I'm thinking right over here will be the basking area in this corner. And that will be kind of a high side, so I might put like some rocks right there for him to bask. And that's important for him to have like a hot and cool side for gradient. So we're going to put a basking side over here, probably put a hide over there because that's a majority of the land. Remember, these guys like water and land combo, so this is going to be a mixture of both. So let's go ahead, get the substrate in, we'll get water in it, and maybe we'll get the turtle in it today. Finally, the finished product. Well, I still have to add the filter, the basking light, as well as the UVB ball. Oh yeah, and of course the retail box that we built this for. I really enjoyed creating this little world for such a cool turtle. Perhaps I even inspired you to give this a try for your reptile. I think we are obligated to provide the best life possible for our reptiles in creating an enriched environment for them to explore. And that's a very important part of that, doing that for your reptile. Don't you think? Thank you for watching this how-to video. Please remember to like, subscribe, so you can learn more about reptiles and how to take care of them. See you next time.